Welcome to the Cannabis Cultivation and Science Podcast. I'm your host, Tad Hussey of Kiss Organics. This is the podcast where we discuss the cutting edge of growing from a science-based perspective and draw on top experts from around the industry to share their wisdom and knowledge. This week's podcast is a bit different though. It's not a podcast on cultivation. Right now we are facing unprecedented times here in the United States and around the world. Many people are suffering either from economic hardship or the racial injustice that has bubbled up over the past couple of months sparked by police brutality. Now, I'm not here to tell folks what to believe. There's enough of that going around these days. All I would suggest is that for those of us who are fortunate enough to still have jobs and making ends meet, it's a very good time to give back to your community, and there are a lot of good causes out there. Pick one that speaks to you and try to give something back. Along that vein, Kiss Organics is going to be contributing this year to the Flint Unity Farming Project. The founder, Delmon Marshall, is my guest this week, and I was excited to have him on the show to share more about the organization that he has founded. Now on to the show. Hey Delmon, thanks for coming on the show today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I wanted to start off. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, and then we'll talk a little bit more about Flint, Michigan, and the Unity Project. But tell me a little bit about yourself first.
Okay, well, as for me, I'm an Army brat child. My dad was in the service. His last post was Michigan, so Michigan became our home. But we're actually from Vicksburg, Mississippi, and Jackson, Mississippi. So, and there we had a farm. So farming was just something that we were always around, but far away from. So I'm a three-sport athlete. My dad was a tennis coach. I played tennis, basketball, football, and sports is like part of my life. And agriculture is like the other side of it, you know.
Yeah, I was kind of the same way. I got really into sports in college. I played in college myself, and then it's funny because most people don't associate athleticism with agriculture. They don't typically go together. I mean, they're not opposed,
Yeah.
but it is a funny that there is that sort of gap there between where our food comes from and people that are really interested in exercise and nutrition.
Right. And it seems like they would go together, but no, oddly not. So with athletes, their optimal thing is what they're eating in order to enhance their performance. So if you're in agriculture, you're growing what a person would be eating. So it's pretty much along those same lines, like they go together. So our program, our youth gardening and fitness program is to do just that, is to teach kids how to eat properly and then exercise to fight child obesity, because the overweight problem is one of the biggest things in the United States with kids. And so we want to teach them how to be responsible with their weight and with fitness at an early age.
Yeah. Now you started the Flint Unity Farming Project, and I want to talk about that. But before we do, can you give listeners a little background into, the Flint, Michigan? So most people have heard of the water crisis in Michigan, and I'd like you to, if you could just kind of give an overview of what that is, but then also tell us what it's like in Flint. Also, through the water crisis and even now as you guys are still battling that. Can you talk a little bit about the water crisis?
Oh yeah, well definitely. Well, Flint, Michigan is probably one of the third largest cities in the state of Michigan, and it's a lot of problems that come along with it. And there's a communities of people here. I'm from, was raised here in Michigan, and for whatever reason, it is, bad things happen, and that the community itself needs help. Flint used to be a haven for NBA players, NFL players, like back in the early '80s, '90s, with Glenn Rice and Andre Rison, and it seemed like since those star people left, the city is still here, and it's in shambles, like it's in economic shambles. I don't know who's to who's supposed to blame for what happened, but there's still people here, and everything is bad. Like the school system is bad. They don't have enough money to keep the schools open. Like it's just a real like messed up situation, but you still have people who do not have enough money to move away that's here. And then those are the people that we're trying to help, the ones that's here, trying to inspire them through the bad, basically 8 years of the Flint water crisis.
So take me back it started what in April of 2014. Flint changed. They began drawing water directly from the Flint River for the 100,000
Right.
residents there instead of water coming from Detroit. And residents started complaining of the water changing in smell and taste, and they were reporting rashes and hair loss. What was that like back in
It
2014
it
when all that
was
happened?
when it all started, it was bad. Like, I mean, I can't think of any other term to use it except bad. And then again, you have people who have no other ways of getting water, or clean water, because it was through the whole city, through the whole pipes. Uh, and so it put people like, you would have to have lived through it in order to have seen it, in order to know how bad it has been, when you have kids who can't drink water out of their faucet. They can't bathe with water that's running through the pipes. And we're 5 years in now, and it still hasn't been cured yet. Like, it still hasn't been fixed yet for the city on the whole. So it was I, it pains me to think about, like some of the things that I saw, like from working the Flint Unity Farming Project. I used to bring water in the jugs, in the Arizona jugs, to feed our plants in Flint, because we can't use the water in Flint because the water was tainted. So I used to bring water to feed the plants, and then bring water for some of the family kids of our kids that was in our program. So just imagine that water. Like, you would think clean water is something that everyone has. Flint, Michigan hasn't had it for 6 years now.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a universal human right. It's something that I've always taken for granted here in the Pacific Northwest. We have really amazing water, and have been very fortunate. And it sounds like from reading articles on this to refresh my memory that the water in the river was so caustic it actually stripped the lead out of the old plumbing systems and caused very high
Right.
lead levels, which doctors were seeing in the blood of children, 5, 10 times higher than what was known to be safe based on
Yes.
the levels. So people were being forced to shower and use these and then try and find other things to drink or find clean water to drink. And getting back to your nutrition thing, this is speculation on my part, but was there a lot more people than drinking soda and Arizona teas and a lot of these other really cheap yet unhealthy beverages?
Oh, yes, definitely, because you have to find something to drink, because it's very unnatural to try to go without drinking water. Like from a natural source, like you automatically think you come to the sink and get it. But in Flint, you had to learn different ways of drinking or of getting water, because clean water wasn't accessible to you. And so people pick up and started drinking Cokes or drinking sodas or the 99-cent drinks, since they, like, that was their water.
Which I assume contributed to obesity and diabetes and a lot of these other
It,
challenges. So this
right.
inspired you to start the Flint Unity Farming Project. And I don't know how I found out about you. I think it was through Instagram. I think you started following me, and then I went and checked it out. And you're posting a lot of photos. I highly suggest people go, give them a follow and check out the Flint Unity Farming Project. Can you tell me a little bit about what that project is and how you got it started?
Oh, yeah, definitely. The Flint Unity Farming Project is a Army-inspired youth gardening and fitness program, as I said. This was an idea of my dad. My dad was in the service. He was in Germany back in '65, and he was working, and he had a vision of a gardening school, and so he wrote some notes down about it, and he came back, was in the service, and then he got out the service, and then he became a school teacher. And so this garden thing was always something that he did because we used to garden around the house. Like I couldn't play the Atari video game unless I had logged in 3 hours of gardening time with him outside. So if anyone remember the Atari video games, the 2600 pole position, all of that, I just couldn't play it until I got tired. I actually had to work doing agriculture to earn credits in order to play the video game because my dad was just dead set on you need to know what my life was like growing up. So that's where the agriculture came in. So December, Christmas, December of 2015, my dad, we were at McLaren Hospital. He was in the hospital. And he said, Delmon, do you remember I talked to you about that garden class? Well, I want you to try to start it now. And I don't want you to quit. And I want you to see how hard it's going to be to set up things. And so from my dad and I talking in the hospital, that's how the Flint Unity Farming Project actually started. I gave it a name. We wrote down the core things that we wanted to accomplish with it. And it was actually a business side to it. So it was big. So when we wrote it up, it was actually for us to get everything that we needed so far as buying the trucks and getting everything like on a big scale. It was close to $750,000, like the starting in order to get everything for us to have it started. We knew no one was going to give us that. So what I did was I scaled everything back to where we don't even have a building, but to where we would be able to teach kids. And so that's the business module that we moved out on. And so that's how we got started. So to date, we have been able to teach upwards over 350 children free of charge, and we're just hoping to continue. We just need the resources in order to be able to do it. Because my brother, also a military veteran, Army, he and I run the program together, but I'm the more vocal focus one in it, and he just comes in and work and then leaves. So yeah, that's basically our program of teaching kids how to be able to grow vegetables to help offset their exposure from the Flint water crisis, and then for them to just learn how to be able to eat and be healthy.
Yeah. Now, when we were talking before, you had mentioned how there was quite an outpouring of interest in the community when people found out about your program. Can you tell me about sort of what that was like? I know you did some, you put up some ads and stuff initially for it, but you got a really good turnout, you said. And then what did you teach the kids? What were some of the focuses around the program when everyone was showing up?
Well, for our gardening program, what the basis was to teach kids where plant life, what is plant life, and then how to grow vegetables. So I kept it elementary so far as what vegetables that we grew, because I taught them how to grow tomatoes and how to grow. I'm trying to remember the herbs, but I taught chives and something else that was known to, if you eat it, it can offset lead in your body. So I basically taught them how to grow basic vegetables and then how they could grow other things. And so I kept it in a one like a ABC format, and I tried to give them something to take home. The summer class was for 8 weeks, so I tried to have them with something that they could take home every week and keep growing, and then they could take pictures for the kids to have phones to let me see them. And so that was basically my teaching method, was just teaching kids the basics of how to in NPK level. Like I teach them in NPK, and I tell them like a simple way of knowing what that means is up, down, and all around. So I'm basically teaching them gardening, but just doing it in such a way to where they can understand what they are doing.
Yeah, and you mentioned that a lot of the kids were setting up gardens at their house, or even in the abandoned lots or houses near
Oh
them.
yes. Yes, yes. It's a lot of abandoned houses around. So a lot of the plants that I gave kids, they took them home and planted it either on their yard in their backyard, or it's hundreds of vacant homes. Like there's a house, then there's five vacant homes, and then there's a house. So they could easily go and plant a vegetable in a vacant lot and let it grow. And that was another part of our program, was to beautify the city of Flint. But of course, that fell on deaf ears. No, no one was really concerned about beautifying Flint. But that was another thing that we wanted to gear the kids up to, where to not only feel good about yourself, but feel good about the community which you are from, and do things to better it. You know.
And you had mentioned that a lot of the kids didn't know about vegetables.
Oh yeah,
Can you
they
talk about
had,
that?
yeah. Oh yeah, as I mean, and it's just funny because if you don't know, if you're not exposed to it, you don't know. I was at the Amazing Grace Church. I was speaking at a church, and I just happened to ask the kids where the vegetables come from, and they said, not even trying to be funny, Walmart. It comes from Walmart. It comes from Myers. And I'm like, no, where does it come from? And they stuck at the store, not even understanding that green vegetables, green peppers come from the ground, that you can grow them from the ground. They didn't even make that connection. And so it's good that our program was able to help kids make that connection, that you can grow your own food. Like it's something that they don't even think man about, and living in this computer age, everyone is basically thinking in the computer mind frame, as opposed to what they can actually do for themselves, and it just takes hard work to do it. That's the other thing. Gardening is not easy. It's a delayed satisfaction thing, but if you can learn how to space it out and do it, then you will be better off. And once you learn how to do it, then you will always be able to do it. So you could always provide food if you put in the work.
Yeah. What are your goals for the future with the Flint Unity Farming Project?
Oh, the goals is vast for what it is that I want to do. We want to basically get our program sponsored or partnered with the NFL, the NBA, and MBBL with the baseball. We would want to have Flint Unity Farming projects in every city possible. And you and I spoke of before. I had a friend that was out in Seattle, and we were supposed to try to get one set up in Seattle when he was there, but he got traded to another team, so we weren't able to get that set up. But the ultimate goal long term is to have this set up in 32 cities and have kids learning gardening and learning fitness, sports training, because I want to teach them tennis. So tennis is going to be a part of our program. I used to play tennis. I actually played semi-pro tennis a couple years, ago, and my highest finish was third. I'm old now. Like, I'm old now. I'm cool with coaching, but I want to teach kids how to be able to play tennis, how to baseball, basketball, and also how to eat in order to be more better of a player and be in better health.
Well, that sounds like a very ambitious but worthy goal, and I hope you're successful in this. And for our part with Kiss Organics, I'm going to send you a pallet of material from us. We're shutting down our garden center here, and so I have a lot of extra gardening tools and supplies. So I'll be
Cool.
sending that your
That'd
way
be
as a sort of an appreciation for what you're doing from us. But before we sign off, I had a couple more quick questions for you.
okay.
What's your favorite vegetable to grow by chance? Do you have a favorite?
Actually, my favorite vegetable to grow has been the bell peppers, because I cook with them so much. I use them in like a lot of the things that I make. Bell peppers is my favorite thing to grow.
You must get some hot weather out there because they're a lot tougher to grow here in Seattle.
I mean, no, and they're actually tough to grow here too, because it doesn't get that warm in order form. But I try my best to try my best to grow the organic green bell peppers, and I've been having a success with them, and they taste, man, wonderful. Like, because I grow a lot of stuff that I don't even eat. Like I grow strawberries. I am allergic to them, but the grandkids love them, so I got to make a strawberry patch,
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. In our family, my father always plants a garden that's way too large for us because it's his favorite thing to go out in the community and share with neighbors fresh vegetables.
Right.
That's his way of
Yeah.
connecting with people and his way of sort of giving back, and it gives him a lot of joy.
Yeah, and that's our thing at the 3 years that we've been able to run our program. The vegetables that we grow, I give them to the kids and to the families of the kids that's in our program, and then any of the other ones I normally give them away to people or sell them to people in order for us to be able to have resources to do something else. But yeah, the giving of the community, knowing that you're helping someone, giving someone sustenance, giving, food, like there's not anything to me, I think that's better, than doing that for someone, especially in this, today's climate and time. It shows it's giving compassion to humans, and it almost seems like that's like a lost art of actually caring about someone. Like now it's, you just hit like on something and then that's justification, or that's I done enough, I done hit like up on your post. But it's actually you're doing something to help another person. I think it's life changing. I'm so glad, man. My dad talked to me and asked me to do this. I don't know what to do, man, with myself.
That's great. I love that it was inspired by your father. I think that's really cool that you have that family part to it. One other last question I have for you is, when you and I were talking, you mentioned you also have a role in the cannabis industry. Did you want to mention
Right.
that for the listeners?
Oh yeah, definitely, yes. It's Area 72 Botanicals on Instagram. Like that's my other job. I do work in the cannabis industry, and I've started a cannabutter brand business in cannabis, and I've been running it, for the past year and a half now. And I see that there could be some great things done, with it, as funds come to get everything set up. Yeah, I see great things coming along with it. But I started working, growing cannabis for this dispensary 5 years ago. So that's how I learned about the nutrient growing, from that job.
Well, that's great. That's great. Well, I thank you so much for your time today and appreciate what you're doing for your community. And I just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. And please, anyone with any questions, any suggestions, please give us a follow on Instagram at Flint Unity Farming Project, or for cannabis at A72 Botanicals on Instagram. That's me.
That was Delmon Marshall with the Flint Unity Farming Project, and you are listening to the Cannabis Cultivation and Science Podcast. I'm your host, Tad Hussey. You can check them out on Instagram at Flint Unity Farming Project or through the links on our podcast page. Thanks for listening.